Welcome to another edition of NSD, episode 10, I do believe, of the year. I think that's what I have up in the title there. I should have probably checked that and had that at least memorized before I started this show. But nonetheless, welcome back. It's a Friday. You know what that means. If you ain't already out partying, if you ain't out enjoying the last little bit of summer, the last little bit of summer, I said it. We up here in Canada know it. Everybody that walks into my work is already dreading the fact that we are going to inevitably go to the snow here pretty darn soon. But you know what? Climate change is a thing. That means September is just going to be really, really nice and warm. That means I can go camping in September, which would never actually be a thing that you would ever really hear in Canada said by a Canadian, and that's going camping in the middle of September. You know what else we're going to do in the middle of September? Watch football. And especially do some fantasy football, which we're going to be talking a lot about today, which is both of them. Also today, we're going to be talking about my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, obviously, because this is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer on love show and platform, as much as we love every other team that's out there. But yes, this show right here, Buccaneers love. So we're going to be talking about where the hell Brady's at, which I thought I literally cracked the case while I was at work, with one person coming in, and I'll tell you that story here in a few. But before we get to that, and before we get to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers talk, ladies and gentlemen, I need y'all to do me a favor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, and go to YouTube if that's where you're watching, and hit that subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, subscribe to Snore Sports Dynasty, and like, and do me a favor. Here's the big thing. If you subscribe, obviously, that's a lot of love, but you're going to get a couple of names in the draw. But this is how you get one a week. You share this show, whether it's on any platform whatsoever, you get a chance right here. Boom. You get a chance to win this beautiful Mike Allstat mini helmet signed by, there it is, signed by the man himself, Mr. A-Train, Mike Allstat. You'll get a chance to win this right here, right now. Not right now, but you will get a chance to win this during the season, probably towards the end of the season, where we have a big giveaway, which I just got a huge shipment. That box, I should have put the box in here to the actually. You can see a couple of things up there. I got more giveaways, and then possibly some more giveaways. I'm just looking at these beautiful things. And to anybody who's in the group chat, they know exactly what the hell those things are. I can't wait to open those up to see what the hell's inside. But speaking of inside, we're probably going to see what is unmasked in this talk about Tom Brady, because I'm pretty sure he's in the Masked Singer, which I'm going to get to that here in a few as well. By the way, we're also going to be talking about just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in general. We got the Titans preseason game coming up, which he was supposed to be back for, but he's not. So we'll get to that. We'll talk about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are actually looking. And then we're going to give into the NSD Fantasy 4. Because everybody does Fantasy 5 and Fantasy this and Fantasy 4. And what Fantasy 4 is basically from a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, and a tight end. I give you my number one sleeper option, who I think is either going to be a top 10 or even at best a top 5 player this year. Basically what fantasy footballers call their my guy, but I ain't going to steal their terminology. I'm still working on my own. So we're going to call it the NSD Fantasy 4. I'm going to tell you what 4 you're going to want to get in the later rounds or around the proper ADP. Maybe get them a round sooner so that they can help you win your fantasy football league this year. And I have some other news that I can't disclose just yet. But when it comes to betting, we may have something going on there. So today, we are going to talk a little bit about the NFL preseason and is there money to be made? So yes, ladies and gentlemen, hit that like, hit that share button. Share this all around. Tell everybody where you can find this show. That's what we want to see. So let's get right into it with a little bit of Bucs talk. It all finally made sense. I'm sitting at work after last night contemplating where the fuck is my quarterback? And thinking, what is my team going to be without Tom Brady this year? Going back to that quick little 6-7 day window where it was like, I don't know if I want it to just be Blaine Gabbert that goes. What do we do? Well, we didn't draft anybody, and instead, out of nowhere, we had one big bad son of a bitch, and the GOAT decided to come out of a pre-early retirement that Adam Schefter inevitably put him through. And now he decided to come back and has a predetermined agreement outside of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers facility. A lot of people have speculated in the last little bit whether that to be against the health of his mother, which could be completely understandable because she is getting to that age where she may not necessarily be here for that much longer. People thought maybe it could be the thing with regards to him and Giselle. Maybe Giselle's just not happy with the fact that he decided to fucking go back for another year. She's like, I ain't getting any younger here, dude. And you ain't getting any younger here. And we just no, you spend time with the kids now. Stop this. You don't need the Buccaneers. You gave them their ring. Walk off. But to me, out of all those things, which made sense, because here at NSD, what I tried to build is this thing where you take all of these phrases and these rumors that are out there, however crazy they can be and however false a lot of people may think they are. But what I did is I kept a little bit of, eyes to the ground, I guess you would say, or ears to the ground, trying to figure out what exactly this could possibly mean. And what I finally found out today when someone walked into my store and said that on TSN 1260, they said, and I quote, maybe he's on The Masked Singer. It had me thinking, holy crap, you guys at TSN, you cracked the case. That's the most amazing thing I have ever heard because it actually made sense. The guy disappears. Nobody knows where he is. I mean, hell, TMZ has done a pretty damn good job, if it's almost a household name, for people to go and get pictures and video of these, obvious, celebrities and superstars. And yet we haven't seen anything. Brady goes on vacations on yachts, as we heard on the Pat McAfee show, and that gets taken. I am a person that has watched The Masked Singer from day one. And when this person in my store brought this up, I even said, you know what, this makes sense. Because a lot of his teammates have actually already been on that show. Antonio Brown has been on there. Gronk has been on there. And if I'm not mistaken, there's been a few other football players who have blessed the stages of The Masked Singer. And I have been a very big fan of this show. And everything that Pat McAfee said today makes absolute sense. Everything that the boys and all these rumors that got floated around makes the most sense. Where would he go? Fox is the guys who do The Masked Singer. It's not the fact that they probably turned around like how Pat McAfee was putting it and said, maybe because we're tossing you all this money, you should go do Masked Singer. No, I don't think that's what it was. I think this is one of those things where it falls into this kind of category. Tom Brady was retired. Tom Brady was fucking gone from the Buccaneers, okay? But when you have plans, when you have pre-dedicated situations, they actually don't happen until football season starts, which is a whole 3, 4, 5 months in some cases away. You get bored. You tend to fall out of grace with everything that's going on. You make these videos. You get really popular on social media. You find yourself falling into the trap of what life essentially can be. The distraction. Brady doesn't like distractions. That's why he's a winner. That's why he's a GOAT. And that's why he blessed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with at least 2 seasons where we had a lot of fun and won championship and a really damn good close game against the LA Rams where they inevitably beat us and won their own Super Bowl at home. But when it comes to this whole situation, the reason why it is brought up so much traction is because of the fact that you haven't actually seen him. In most cases, if you actually knew exactly where he was going, if it was a personal case where it would have to be with his mom, if you put it out there about that, it wouldn't matter. But in this case, he is gone. And now Gronk was a big tiger, I do believe, in The Masked Singer. And Gronk did okay. And Tom Brady has always just had this thing about him, what makes him the GOAT and what makes him better than most other players in the NFL. And what honestly makes him a savage. It's the reason why he hasn't gone anywhere yet. He ain't done. He's taking a little bit of revenge. So many different people have walked that stage, and now he's going to go on there. He's going to bless it, and he's going to sing his damn ass off. He's going to leave absolutely no clues whatsoever. They're not going to do it. With Gronk, they tried. Oh, with Gronk, did they ever try to hide it up? But the second that guy opened his mouth, I knew for a fact who the hell it was, and it was Rob Gronkowski. This is secretive. And the whole fact that everybody's like, well, what if he didn't get voted out? It's not the fact that he didn't get voted out. It's what if the fact that this whole process of screening for, say, COVID has taken longer? What if the fact that he is doing, 2 songs instead of 1? Maybe it's not everything that you would think of in this brand new season of The Masked Singer, which, by the way, I went and looked up, does usually typically start filming at around this time. Now, of course, that could be a ruse, could be a lie, in order to make it seem like it is going to be at a different date. But this just makes sense. I mean, another thing could be like the guy could be freaking making his own TV show. He could be in a Marvel movie, which I actually was, not going to lie, leaning a little bit more towards. Only because if you haven't seen the whole announcement that they made about Marvel, they got Kang Dynasty and Hello Secret fucking Wars coming out here pretty soon. Disney, don't sue me, please. But that's what's coming out. Secret Wars. And there's a lot of secrets going around in the Disney world where they don't want these movies and these things to be ruined, just like it was for the Spider-Man franchise. Of course they don't want that. So they're going to do everything in their power to keep it, enclosed. If it is to be a power or a show that is overseeing Tom Brady like that, maybe that does employ him, obviously, like Fox, and would give him permission, or maybe even switch the show or his own takes around the time in training camp, because he knows the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to let him go. You can't tell me that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are like, no, we need you back. Thank you. Hello. Hey, Dom. Can you come back? We need. No, they're going to let him go do whatever the hell he wants. He retired. Yeah, we got Kyle Trask, and everybody's all like, I want to see more Kyle Trask. I want to see more Kyle Trask, too. I don't necessarily think he's ready to be the future, but I think it'd be cool to see a little bit more of him in preseason. But he's gone right now. And a lot of people are freaking out saying, we know he's got this and he's got that. And I totally understand where everybody wants to go about this. But I think we do need to calm down. I think it is something that he has already dedicated to himself before the season even started, already knowing that he was going to have to get himself in these weird predicaments. Just like I still think Gronk is coming back and whatever. I'm going to have to put the Bucs schedule literally right there now. I think Gronk's coming back for the Germany game. He says it right in his retirement package, does he not? This is set sails. I understand he's a Buccaneer. But it's set sails going to Germany to play against the Seahawks in a game where they are literally more than likely going to dominate. And it's literally just for Europeans just to go and see Tom Brady. And if anybody's actually seen the prices of those tickets, they're absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And as European, so that would be that pounds. Or maybe every country has their own different currency like we do and stuff like that. Maybe we actually have, hi, Frodo. Sorry, my dogs came running down here. We actually have down here in Canada, or up here in Canada, depending on who you are talking to and stuff like that, we have toonies and loonies and stuff like that. So I don't know if actually in Europe they have different currencies or if they have, whatever, stuff like that. So maybe it could be pounds or maybe it could be this and maybe it could be that. Who knows? But it's very expensive to go to that game in Germany. And I just think that would make sense that if everybody's paying money to go see Tom Brady, be kind of like this WWE experience where it'd be like, oh my God, that's not the Undertaker's music, is it? By God, it's Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski's coming out the tunnel, ladies and gentlemen. The Seattle Seahawks are fucked today. Like I could 1,000% see that. Maybe not necessarily like that. I could see like Pat McAfee or something like that being like, the inevitable is happening here in Germany. But I don't necessarily see the whole big, where the hell is Brady? We all know where Brady is. Okay? We all know where Brady is. He's just doing a TV show. So you don't need to get bunged up. You don't need to get mad. All you need to do is obviously get ready for football. Because that's what we're trying to do here. And that's obviously what Tom Brady's going to be doing here soon as well. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's not always about you. Okay? Let the man live. He's 45 years old. He's going to go dance. He's going to go sing. He's going to go put on a costume. And he's going to go own on stage. All right? He's going to go own on stage. So, let's talk about the rest of the Buccaneers that has been going on here. Okay? The rest of training camp, how we've been looking here. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, before I get into that, may I remind you that if you want a shot at winning the Mike All Stats mini helmet, the A Train, look at that beautiful thing right there. And it's even got, the other side. It's even got the sticker of authentication. All you gotta do, like and share and follow NSD. But especially share these shows. Every time you share this show, ladies and gentlemen, out to your friends or whatever, I'm obviously going to give you a chance to win. I'm going to put it in a randomizer at the end of the year with everybody's name. And by God, I am going to make sure that somebody walks away with a mini helmet. And there's more. I got jerseys to give away at the end of the year. This is going to be one fun fucking year here at NSD, especially because we got Maple Bucs talk coming up here in about it'll be a week and 2 days. So, which by the way, if you haven't seen the intro to Maple Bucs talk, ladies and gentlemen, here's a little sneak peek. miss the brand new show starting up next Sunday, where it's literally only Buccaneers talk that we were going to be having here at NSD. Its own Buccaneers show, all Buccaneers, all the time. And before we get into the Bucs and stuff like that, I see there's a lot of you out there. So let's give a couple of shout outs to the fans and all of you beautiful fans out there and you beautiful people. Kyle Yacey says first, and then second with a couple of dots, Sid. Oh, you're too slow, Sid. I'm sorry. Kate Alyssa is in the house. Hello, my spirit animals. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in today. Kyle Yacey says, I want to show the inside of my body to you. Well, isn't that nice? Just like rip it open. Like, it's quite weird, though. He's on The Masked Singer. I'm saying it, dude. He's on The Masked Singer. You are so Canadian, it's uncanny. Like John Canny, but like with more candy. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for tuning in. Bobby Willis, who gives a crap if he is, right? But like, who cares? Sean Spencer in the house. What's up, Andrew? Thank you for tuning in, my friend. Those arms are kind of skinny, homeboy. Careful. Oh, buddy. I see I like these little skinny. Look at that. Water pistols. Look at yeah, it's like Terry Crews commercial. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Except I can't really do that. They're the tiniest little things ever, dude. Okay. I always sing the song by Toby Keith that when someone brings a little bit of attention to the skinniness of my arms or anything that I do is I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. Down. So I need some beer in my hand. Anyway, all jokes aside, I love this show, dude. Much appreciated, dude. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube if you love it. Not the Loonies. Ash Swinton and Sid Swinton know all about, well, they don't know all about the Loonies, but they're soon going to. I'm going to be sending care packages out. Everybody will get their own Looney and Dooney. Misador says, what's up? Christopher Cole says, what's up, Andrew? Ben Cornett in the house says, actually, Tom Brady is filming a movie called Tommy Boy 2. It's a sequel to Tommy Boy. He's still the owner of the Callahan Auto Parts after he inherited the factory from his dad and has lost over 100 pounds. Wow. I listen, there's things that I've heard, and that's a little left field, but I love it. I love that, actually. Let's Bobby on. Let's do that. Brady is looking for John Gotti. Oh, right? One like can help redheads find shit. Do you like that? You like that? I decided to keep this little area here for like little one-liners every week, and I think people will appreciate it. So I already getting groupie text. I got called out on Twitter by GMC. Ooh, you're going to have to tell me more about that, Christopher Cole. I need to hear that. Yo, 17th. They let people come on the gun show for free now. This little water pistol show. And you know who doesn't have water pistols? Those two brand new additions there. We got obviously Chuba Hubbard, who is a Sherwood Park legend, which, by the way, NSD's old co-host here, and possibly some stuff coming down. You know what I'm saying? He actually has been the center for Chuba Hubbard. Don't let anybody else tell you differently. He was. That's right. So we actually have somebody who headed the ball to Mr. Chuba Hubbard. Just saying. We got royalties up in every department now. We also got that 34 there for any Tampa Bay Buccaneer who died. For any some Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan needs to let me know who the heck that is, obviously, in the comment section. I don't need to say, especially that one. Come on. I need someone in the comment section, non-Buccaneer fan too, who's obviously 55 and who's obviously 34. Played on the same 0-2 Super Bowl winning team. I want to see it. They get one. I'll even give them two. First person to tell me who those two numbers are in the chat gets two entries into the draw, and I'm starting a list literally right there on my whiteboard, okay, of people who get little entries into the giveaway. Because do you see how many Mike Allstats I got up in there? I need to give one of those away to my fans here. So who can tell me on the show, live on air, who are those two numbers on the 0-2 Super Bowl winning team? Who's the 55 and who's the 34? You get two entries. Let's talk a little bit about preseason training camp in the upcoming Titans and what everybody is expecting to see of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Listen, we obviously ain't going to see Tom Brady. We obviously probably going to see a little bit more of the Blaine Gabbert show, but I do not suspect him to be in for very long. I think they kind of already got the idea that he is going to be the foregone, starter or backup starter. You know what I mean? Kyle Trask is kind of fighting for that last position to make sure Ryan Griffin is just going to be a practice squad guy, which I think eventually he might get picked up. I mean, he's picked up the offense and he knows the offense for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers very, very well. So I don't necessarily see too much of Blaine Gabbert coming out, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see a little bit more Ryan Griffin. I wouldn't even be surprised if someone randomly comes down the pipe and get signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. By the way, there it is. Derek Brooks and Super Bowl MVP, Mr. Dexter Jackson, the newest addition to the house. Everybody knows that beautiful bastard has been here since day one. Okay, not necessarily day one, but it's been here for quite a long time. I got that probably about a year and a half ago. And when I sold all my jerseys, inevitably somebody was like, hey, can I get that one? And I'm like, nope. I need to keep at least one. And that's the beautiful one that I kept. So congratulations, Ben. Ben gets 2 into the draw for a chance at your own, or for your chance at your own Mike Allstat mini helmet. So congratulations, Ben. You got the weekly live show entry. We're going to make that into a segment. So people who actually watch the show, they can actually get more entries. Because dude, that makes so much sense. So if you're live watching the show and we come up with these questions or whatever together, then all of a sudden I can have people answer to, man, look at me being a smart ginger here. Look at me being a smart little ginger here. That's right. Dude, that's why you watching right now. It's because I'm just trying to make sure everybody's living life, okay? Ben Cornett says, yes. That's right, buddy. I got you. And then what we got here? Dang, Ben, you beat me to the punch. Oh, yeah, he did. Hey, but you know what? You tune in next week, buddy. We will have more opportunities for people to get stuff. Might even start giving away stuff in a couple of weeks here for people who are just tuning in. Might do that. Because I cannot wait. Listen, I'm gonna show you guys what I have cooking here, but like this one's for me. Okay, this is what I get to open later. When I'm done, look, it's beautiful. I don't know what's in it. I haven't opened it yet. See, it's still sealed. I don't know what's in it, but there could possibly be like an Aaron Jones, Max Crosby, Terrell Davis. Like there could be a bunch of different stuff in here, man. And like, if it's a Saints player, I don't care who it is. Is it Drew fucking Brees? I'm giving it away randomly on a show. I don't want it in my house longer than it would have to be. You know what I mean? But like, I'm gonna tell you right now, if it's a Patrick Mahomes or something like that, you're damn right. So I'm gonna advertise the shit out of it. And people want a chance to win something like that, or a Joe Burrow or whatever. But watch it be just like, it'd be like Ben Skronik from the LA Rams, or it'll be like from the 1972 Miami Dolphins Hall of Fame winning squad. It'd be like a no-name right guard or something like that, or a fucking punter or something weird, or it could be something really cool like a Pat McAfee. I don't know what the hell it's going to be. There's a chance, by the way, for 2 jerseys to be in here. That's right. So I get to enjoy that after the show. But you get a chance to win stuff here on the show because that's what we do here. I love to give shit away. Speaking of giving shit away, our wide receivers in training camp have been kicking some ass. Okay? Obviously, everybody knew what was going to be happening with the arrival of Julio Jones. At least we did here on this network. Unlike some people out there. Not taking shots at anybody. I'm just saying, there's a few of you who thought Mr. Julio Jones wasn't going to succumb to nothing. Ooh, Ooh, I mean, if he stays healthy, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's starting to get closer to the season. And with all the banged up stuff going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well, you start watching these training camps. You start listening to JC Allen there at Pewter Report, and he does these beautiful, what are those on Twitter? You do like the voiceovers or something like that. They're like little chat rooms or whatever, but for him to just talk in. Drop it in the comment section if you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just drawing a blank on what their names are. Joshua Cole Allen does that like almost every single day when he's driving to and from practice, and then does the Pewter update. This guy's a fucking machine. Okay, and he gets every shout out on this platform he ever deserves. Shout out to Joshua Cole Allen there at Pewter Report. I've done many different shows with him in the past. It's been a lot of fun, and this guy's been keeping everybody up to date. Everybody up to date. Kids getting pictures with people at the stands, with players in the stands and stuff like that. Absolutely incredible. Shout out to you, Joshua Cole Allen, and to your family. But this guy has been keeping everybody updated on what's been going on at training camp. A lot of these players are really starting to shine, and a lot of these guys really got only this game coming up to really show if they're going to make the Tampa Bay Buccaneer roster. And it's not going to be easy to make the Tampa Bay Buccaneer roster this year because of the fact that there is a lot of veterans that are going to be coming in. And Tom Brady, despite what anybody says, and even Bruce Arians, okay, those are the guys still making the decisions for the roster of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Those are the guys that you basically got to convince is going to have some sort of, like, if you want to go sign somebody, you got to convince them. You want to cut somebody, you got to make sure it's okay with them. Like, I'm pretty sure the whole Bradley Pinion thing was okay because there wasn't that dead cap hit that would have affected them a little bit more last year than it is this year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers want to assemble a really good squad, and they want to keep some of these rookies in-house, obviously, but they know it's going to be very hard when your draft picks start getting to the back round of the first and your talent starts dropping off. Now, obviously, what we need to do is we need to keep our noses to the ground. Rachaad White needs to keep doing what he's doing in practice because he's been doing some great things. Have you been watching this kid? Like, there's been talk out of Houston with one of the running backs going on there, and we'll get to that when we're talking to the Dynasty 4, or the NSD Fantasy 4. But there's a lot of talk about Rachaad White and his ability here. And some of these wide receivers really want to carve in their own spot. And we're sitting here being like, oh, what about Scotty Miller or Jalen Darden? Like, what about Devin Tompkins? Like, what about some of those guys? There's a lot of guys who've been showing up here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's not obviously good for fans who like to see the young guys get developed and stay around and see a certain squad win it together. I understand that. I'm always going to be that type of a fan too. We as Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans, though, have to understand that this is just the way that it is now. We don't get all these rookies anymore. We get veterans. We get the opportunity to go for big W's every single week, not just against our conference rivals and hoping that we steal a game off of them so they get a bad spot in the playoffs or they inevitably miss the playoffs. No, we're keeping them away from the fucking playoffs now, and we're putting our foot down on their throats, making sure that these guys got no more air, like Dan Campbell would say. And I love it. I don't want to keep hearing about the New Orleans Saints in the NFC South, and it's beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong. I love my guys at Let's Talk Football, Anthony Handy, Kyle Yacey, and their love for the Atlanta Falcons and a couple other people I know. But, man, I hate most of the people in my division. The only thing I don't necessarily hate is Canadians, and I'll put them up on my wall with my blend of, Buccaneer stuff. But at the end of the day, like I don't like anybody in that division, and I never will. And the reason is because of all the talk we've had to hear about it. And us as Buccaneer fans finally get our little bit of hope for the 3 to 5 years window that we usually get with regards to this winning. So we're not going to have that many rookies when it comes to the next set of cuts. Some of these guys that we've been watching in camp, some of these guys that we've been seeing in the chat here, like Christopher Cole, who gets to go and see some of these players play. He might have a couple of favorites because he's got a couple of, say, signatures, or he's gotten to talk to a couple. Good relations. That's what happens with fans. And he gets cut. It hurts. I get it. But this is a whole different season.
Now, when this thing came out about Bruce Arians, coaching the quarterbacks, guy's a quarterback whisperer. But remember, the guy went into the office for a reason. He gets to play around in the whole scouting game now. The guy gets to go find his own quarterback, like I've said. A lot of stuff the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing is happening. Or a lot of stuff that I said the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would be doing is happening. Like Bruce Arians and going looking for a quarterback. Like him still having a little bit of say in what's going on with the offense and maybe even the defense. Tom Brady having a lot of flexibility to do whatever the fuck he wants, essentially. That's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're going to have to let it happen. This is our window, guys. I ain't getting in any of these guys' way. Let's just be honest. And as Buccaneer fans, we got to let them do it. And yes, I like Devin Tompkins. I like Keyshawn Vaughn. I like some of these other players that we've drafted, and I want to see them get. I like Sage Surratt. I like some of these guys. I really, really do. I like having Troy Polamalu 2.0 as a middle linebacker. The hair. I like this. I really do. But the Buccaneers are going to do what they got to do. And if it's going to bring in some more veterans, all the power to them. Would we rather have the championship or watch some of the guys grow in our system? And a lot of people, listen, and I know a lot of fans are a little 50-50 on that. But if we want to see another championship and we want to see Brady get drunk like he did already and, throw the championship around like he did, and I'm not against it. I'm not against it. It's just going to suck going into the future when we don't necessarily know who's going to be our quarterback of the future after Brady is gone. A couple comments in here. Don't hurt your brain too much. Won't name a Dolphins player. Hey. I like the Dolphins too. I think the Dolphins are basically set up how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were when Tom Brady first came here. Is now if Tua Tagovailoa doesn't necessarily work out for you in that offense, and his arm isn't necessarily as good as everybody else besides Tyreek Hill is saying, then all of a sudden in the offseason, you go offer Aaron Rodgers like the world in a trade or whatever. Who knows? Who knows? But you get a Tom Brady or something like that like a couple of years ago. Your offense is pretty damn good. Your whole team, that defense is scary too, dude. The Finns smoke you or no? Last year? I can't remember. You need to get out there coaching. I do. Once I actually have a proper 9-to-5 kind of job, I'm actually going to be going for some coaching and stuff like that. So we'll see about that going into the future. I have done a little bit though. And shout out to Mr. Battistill, my coach from grade 9 and 10. He was my football coach. He really got me into all of this, to be honest with you. And he's a big Cowboys fan. So shout out to him and shout out to the Cowboys because of their, them being around basically my whole entire life. So Christopher Cole says, I wonder what McCoy thinks about his number. And he said, if I wanted to know what he thinks, ask me. Then I replied to someone's comment and said that Nassib would make more impact plays than McCoy made his entire career. He said, be nice, Christopher. Oh, interesting. Buddy, you're going to have to you said that was on Twitter. I'm going to have to get you to tag me in that somewhere because I want to see that thread. That's rude as all hell. But I feel you on that, dude. And Nassib did a little bit more for us, so I like Nassib. I'm happy we got Carl Nassib, by the way. A lot of play. Listen, I've seen the hate out there too. Everyone be like, yeah, but do we really need that kind of? And I'm like, I don't want to hear that at all. He, if anything, he came out to the Buccaneers players, and some of the Buccaneers players had the instinct. They all talked about this. Okay, this is all documented stuff. It's not like he just randomly was like, oh, by the way, this is what I like. No, he came out with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He got paid. He got to do whatever the heck he wants. You know what I mean? Hey, the man is allowed to do whatever the hell he wants. And if anybody wants to hate on him for it, take it up with him on the fucking field. Isn't that one of the reasons why the New Orleans Saints left tackle plays football is to legally assault people? So Let's all settle down here on that. But yeah, I agree with you kind of there, Christopher Cole. Is Carl Nassib has actually done a lot more than people think. So quick commercial here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back here at NSD for a little bit of talk into the Fantasy 4. And these are the 4 players that you're going to want on your roster this upcoming year, whether it's Dynasty, redraft, keeper league. Any of these guys you're going to want at the deal that you could probably get them for. So quick commercial. We'll be right back with some fantasy talk here at North Sports Dynasty. So here at North Sports Dynasty, obviously the big thing that this, the name North Sports the Dynasty doesn't come from this whole thing being a dynasty. Is obviously comes from fantasy football dynasty, which is something that I'm not good at. I'm just gonna start saying I'm not even that good at it. I'm just not that good. I just enjoy it, and I like it a lot. So I decided to make a show based on fantasy football. And what I basically do every year, and what a lot of people do at fantasy football every year, is they kind of have the guys that they go for. They're their guys. What the fantasy football is called, they're my guys. And here at NSD, what we did every year is we would always have our players that we would always basically have and say that we think are going to project to be a lot better than what they were last year. Basically a top 10 to top 5 finish at some of these positions. Now, a lot of you probably think there's one player that I specifically have been talking about all off season that I was probably going to put as one of my 4. But I decided to go a different route only because my one rule here is you cannot have players from the same team. So I sat there and debated between 2 players, a running back and a wide receiver off of the same team, who I think are both going to have big years. But one of them is obviously projected a little bit higher and is becoming a lot higher than what people should have them at. So I went with another. So let's start it off here, ladies and gentlemen, with the quarterback. And the quarterback that I am grabbing today, that I think everybody should grab, is one that people have probably taken in a dynasty or a redraft at the back round almost every single time. Sometimes it's worked out for you, whether you've been looking for just someone who can consistently get you 15 to 22 points every week at the quarterback position, or if you were actually looking for somebody who had the upside almost every year. Never at the end really projected out high, but did have a couple of MVP opportunities, including one that we all knew inevitably fell to a 28-3 decision to the New England Patriots. The quarterback that I'm talking about tonight is the Matt Ryan from the Indianapolis Colts. Andrew, why would you even touch this guy? Why would you even think about going with a quarterback who, in my opinion, and if I'm not mistaken, has never finished higher than quarterback 6 overall at the end of the season? So why would I take the chance this year? Because he's having a 1-year stint with the Indianapolis Colts? Well, I went back and I looked at the Phillip Rivers tape in his first season with the Indianapolis Colts. And for fantasy purposes, when it comes to playoffs, he put up 2 20-point games. And if you are one of those people who just needs to have a 20-point game in order to have a consistent finish in the playoffs, that is something that is valuable to you right there. The other side of it is, Matt Ryan has not had an offensive line this good in a long time. In a damn long time. Now he's got a lot of weapons and a running back. You honestly don't think he's going to check down when he can now? You don't think Michael Pittman is going to get his 7 receptions every single game? and probably 2 touchdowns. You don't think that this is going to happen? Just watch it. Take the chance on Matt Ryan. Currently a 17.3 ADP. The 17th round. That means you can go at the end of the 16th round or even at the beginning, depending on if you have a first overall pick or a second overall pick, and get a value from him. The reason why I say this is because, again, he's got a lot more targets. He's got a way better offensive line. And if you're one of those people who do not like grabbing quarterbacks in the earlier rounds, I would probably start looking at the Matt Ryan train, because if you look around the quarterbacks at that ADP, you're not going to be liking some of those other solutions. Jameis Winston, I mean, a lot of people got him really, really high, but I mean, his ankle is not something that I want to be taking a chance on. Though I see right there as Matt Ryan is saying, take a chance on me. Again, get out there, coach, and you know your shit like I do. I appreciate you, buddy. Can't wait until the Fantasy Ford North Sports Dynasty. Let's go. Andrew, you are a Dynasty. Thank you so much. There's a little more, but no hard feelings between us. Okay, sweet. I appreciate that. But still tag me in that. I want to know about that, Christopher Cole. Matt Ryan is a fantasy stud. You're damn right. You're forgetting one Colts guy. Who is that? Drop that into the comment section, my friend. There is, I think, Paris Campbell. Or is it Paris Campbell, or is it the other guy, other wide receiver there? That's going to be the number 2. I think he's going to have a good fantasy relevance, though, as well for the Colts. Speaking of wide receivers, before we get to the running back, I wanted to get to this wide receiver. Because if I had to pick only one person this year to have a big year, to be the number 1 guy that every single person is going to be, like, out of all the people, is going to be like the number 1 guy on the team, is projected to have one hell of a good season. This preseason game that he had last week and just had last night, he really showed out. He's really shown that he's going to be a number 1, that he doesn't need to be on the field for the entire preseason. That is the Chicago Bears wideout, Mr. Darnell Mooney. Why do I like this guy so much? Same reason why everybody likes Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown came onto the scene in the last 8 games of the season and just started putting up numbers, making everybody realize maybe the Detroit Lions are going to actually be somebody in a couple of years here. Like, holy shit, maybe the Detroit Lions actually have a pretty good wide receiving core. Maybe they're just a couple of other wide receivers away from it. Maybe you're right. But isn't that the same thing on the Bears side? And Darnell Mooney had a breakout season, not just at the end of the season, but really throughout. There was games where he started to see the flashes. Kind of like what Buccaneers saw with Tyler Johnson, except way more consistent after that one game where he was kicking some major ass. Darnell Mooney is going to be the Chicago Bears' number 1 wide receiver for a long time. And not only is Darnell Mooney going to be the number 1 wide receiver, he could possibly go down as the best wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. He has that talent, and he's in a proper situation where he now has his quarterback for the next foreseeable future. Just makes sense. So when they bring in this onslaught of, and I say this not being a very good wide receiver myself, but if you see me play at some of these games for like touch football and stuff like that, these competitive games, I'm pretty damn good. Anyway, these guys are wide receivers around him. Bryce Pringle, Emeka St. Brown, but he's really the standout. He's the guy that Justin Fields can go to, and he showed that in the preseason games. Mooney is going to be one hell of a talent for the Chicago Bears, and it doesn't necessarily matter where you draft him at. You're going to get almost 3rd round value for him. And to be honest, I think he's going in the 8th round, 9th round ADP. I think is where it's at. And that's the deal where I think you can start to find that value. He's really good. I would take him in the 6th round. Once you start getting to the, maybe I should take Mike Evans, or maybe I should take DK Metcalf. Those are not the wide receivers that I want. Those are the wide receivers I would want if you left them for me for another round or 2. I want my number 1s that I know are going into this season, like the Michael Pittmans, the Darnell Mooneys, And, you know, the Deebo Samuels, but also the Brandon Ayuks are going to see a lot more work, despite what everybody says. Darnell Mooney is the number one. All right. You need to be taking him a little bit higher than the respect that he is getting. And I mean that. You are going to thank me later because he is the one that you can highlight on the board and on your scripts or whatever. You put it on Sleeper app. Rename the guy and be like, Andrew said he's going to be the best. Listen, he's going to be the best. He's going to be the best. And I'm calling it right now. He's going to have a top 10 season. And the other player that I was talking about putting on the board here for the running back position was David Montgomery. Obviously, I'm not going to put 2 Chicago Bear players on, but David Montgomery, for the people in the chat, like the fantasy football chat that we got going on here, they know that my love for David Montgomery this season is that he's going to be a top 5 back. So if I have to add like a little asterisk to this thing, it's David Montgomery as well, by the way, exclamation mark, bunch of other wording in there. Yeah, top 5, could even be the number 1 overall. And I've had people laugh at me for that. I don't give a shit. I'm going to stand by it because if he ends up being a top 5, I'm going to flaunt it. But if he ends up not being, then whatever. If he's top 10, still happy. Speaking of running back, the running back that I got this year is one that just got drafted. And it wasn't one of the top running backs that everybody was necessarily thinking about. It was one that I was hoping the Bucs were going to get in a later round. But we decided to go with Rachaad White, and I'm not going to be mad at that at all because I like what Rachaad White brings. I just know that when you see this guy and what he's brought and what he is going to bring to this team is going to be a bright future. I am obviously bought Madden, and I've been doing that for the last, I don't even know how many days. I have bought check this out. Look at this. My brand new controller. Isn't that gorgeous, by the way? Look at that. Look at this. Look how pretty that thing is. Look at that gorgeous color. I just saw it, and I had to have it. And in Madden, I always play franchise. And every time I play franchise, I pick one of the shittiest teams, which usually is actually my Bucs, but over the last couple of years has been this team. And this team went and signed a running back in the offseason who was overshadowed by Jonathan Taylor in Indianapolis. Then went and drafted my guy, who I even said at the beginning of the season for NSD and the draft, this is the running back that I want, Damon Pierce, the running back from the Houston Texans. In Dynasty, I gave him up only because I really needed a certain running back, and I went and grabbed him again. I went and traded a lot to get him again. Because Damon Pierce is probably going to start taking that lead role back in Houston. He is going to be the number 1 guy in Houston going forward. Alex Mack is not bad, but if you were looking for Houston to just go 2-15, 3-14, I'd put Mack in and just say your offense is good. But the Houston Texans, they actually think that they can compete a little bit because they've got some pretty good draft picks in the last couple of years. They got a left guard this year and a cornerback. They went in the second round and got a free safety and a wide receiver, one of them being Canadian, who is not going to play this year. But if that guy does get to beat cancer, leukemia, he will be able to play again. And we are all going to be cheering for his arrival back on the turf. He is going to see a lot of time because Davis Mills needs to develop. And a developing quarterback is usually going to dump a ball off to a running back. And Davis Mills is going to do that for Damon Pierce because Damon Pierce was an all-around do-it-yourself running back at Florida. He is my favorite running back to come out of college in a long time besides the one that is probably coming out next year out of Texas. I'm a Gator fan, so I should love my guy more, but Bijan Robinson is going to be really, really good. So I digress. I do digress. Damon Pierce is a running back that you just want. If you need a quick pass, he is there to catch it. If you need a quick 4 yards, he's there to get it. If you just need someone to block, he can do it. He is like having an offensive lineman that can literally do all the positions. He may not be an all-star at that position, but he is a damn good safety wrench to have in the backfield. And when all you have is Rex Burkhead and Alex Mack, you really start to see what this guy can do. And in the preseason game that you may have watched, he also showed out. So Dameon Pierce is the guy that I want. And a lot of people are not giving them the respect that he deserves, even in a redraft. In a dynasty, you have to get him in the early second round, even at the top of the first round, depending on who you were and what kind of dynasty you were in. But the other side of it is everyone had like a first round in dynasty, a first round grade, like a draft pick on Alex Mack. And people would not take it, even when I offered. Now, all of a sudden, those guys are looking back being like, shit, I should have really listened to the books. I should have listened to Gingy at the beginning of the season. And I really should have just went out for Dameon Pierce. Because a lot of the running backs that you see that came out of this draft this year, Isaiah Spiller, Rashad White, Kyron Williams, respectively, and of course, the guy that we're just talking about, Dameon Pierce, are all guys ready to take the starting roles of the running backs that are there, who all inevitably are either about to get paid real big money or want to get paid real big money. There's also other running backs waiting to take the positions out there who have drafted last year. But Dameon Pierce is in the rebuilding stage of the Houston Texans and holds more value for the PPR leagues and just the carries that he is going to get for the round that he is currently going. He's going in like the 14th round now, probably even the 13th and 12th. But if you did a redraft earlier, or you were to do a dynasty startup draft earlier at the beginning of this year, and then you just incorporated in, you could get him for a steal. But he is not going to be available for you to be necessarily a steal anymore. You probably have to take him with that 10th round pick. And even then, some people are like, I think Rex Burkhead, or I think maybe Alex Mack because they paid him. Yeah, I understand, but it's not going to happen. So go with your gut, like I am, and ride the Dameon Pierce train into the sunset because you'll enjoy it just like everybody else said they will. And like I am. And the last one I got for you is the tight end. Now, this guy plays for a team that I fucking hate. And inevitably, they went and they grabbed a lot more targets in the offseason. They drafted a wide receiver. They signed another wide receiver. And Slant Boy's deciding to come back. But they also seem to have their old quarterback set as the first tight end on the roster. I don't believe that because my guy this year for the tight end position is the Trout man for the second year in a row. I am doubling down on the Trout man himself. He is like the 38th tight end going off the board. And he's the number one tight end for the New Orleans Saints. It's like drafting a goalie in hockey. If you draft an 18-year-old to be your franchise leader and you throw him in the first day you get, he's not going to do very good. But if you let him sit back and you let him do his thing for a little bit and you let him be, they eventually start to flourish into something that you wanted them to actually become. And the Trout man was drafted to be the number one tight end. Was he drafted to be Jimmy Graham? Fuck no. But he was drafted to go into a situation where he can block and he can sneakily come out with some receptions in a receiving core that is tended to be covered very well in the NFC South, not just not by my Buccaneers, but by the Panthers and the Falcons as well. Shout out AJ Terrell and the Carolina Panthers defense because fuck the Saints. But my thing is, Trout man, because of all the other wide receivers and Alvin Kamara and the fact that everybody thinks that this is going to be a highly touted offense, unless they actually had an elite quarterback in there, not everybody is going to eat. And Jameis Winston doesn't have a long ball. He's more of an accurate passer, as you saw last year, passing in between the 10 and the 15 yards. That's where his value really started to shine. Now, it's a completely different offense. I totally understand that. The only thing that is really different there is the head coach, who really was also there as a coordinator. So if you don't think that he's going to be taking a little bit of some situational awareness into this next year and thinking, I got to make sure that my guys are comfortable with something that they already know, you're wrong. He's going to give chances to the wide receivers, but he's also going to give chances to Jameis Winston for his success or whatever quarterback they decide to use. And last year, what it showed to be was a lot of 10 to 15-yard dumps and mesh plays and slants and curls and this, that, and everything else. And that's what really led to their success. And of course, Mr. Slantman is back, so he's going to be doing really good on that as well. But that also means that Adam Troutman, the tight end, is in that equation as well. When Alvin Kamara's got a block and these wide receivers are going deep, there's only going to be a couple other targets in that 10 to 15-yard gap for the New Orleans Saints, and Adam Troutman is going to be that number one. And if you think that offense is going to be so drastic that because of a defensive coordinator coming in and taking the head coaching role, be my guest and go take another tight end around, at a different round. But if you can go and you can get a tight end, say like TJ Hawkinson or one of those 5th, 6th elite tight ends, you don't need them. But if you start falling out of grace with tight ends and you got to start going after the CJ Uzman or the Hayden Hursts out there or the Gerald Everetts, and you're not satisfied with doing that this year, Adam Troutman is probably going to be one of those guys that you can sit on your bench and just watch him for a couple of games and see the points he's going to put up. He's going to put up like a 5 or 6 burner points-wise right off in the first game. So if you got a tight end that you don't think is going to be that good and is probably only going to get you like 2 points because of a really solid offense around the rest of it, like say Cincinnati or the LA Chargers or even the LA Rams, I would probably put in Adam Troutman. I do mean that. And to all the people that I tried to trade, have him as trade bait this year, and you laughed at me, when he goes off this year too, you all going to wish that you talked to me and got him a little bit earlier. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into the last segment, which this is a quick little question that got brought to me. But I've also wanted to play this little intro because, it's good to play the stuff and get into the whole betting aspect of things because we got some news coming down the pipe pretty soon that I can't talk about until I sign things. Anyway, let's have a little bit of high stakes, high rewards talk, shall we? Now, a lot of people have asked me, is there money to be made in the preseason? Like, it's one thing to sit there and get into the whole gambling scene and want to spend a little bit of money to make a little bit of money and have a little bit of fun. But it's one thing when you sit there and the preseason starting and everybody's out there betting on games and you're like, yeah, LA Rams 3-0 or, the Buccaneers because they're awesome, they're going to win. That's not the case every single game. There's kind of a trick to this depending on who you are. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but hear me out. Preseason is a lot of third teams versus third teams and third teams versus second teams and second teams versus first teams and so on and so forth. And when you can just study the lines of what is actually happening and you can actually figure out who's playing who and who's starting where and this, that, and everything else, pretty clear that a pattern starts to come out. And if you think that a team would win this matchup in the regular season, take the opposite. So say, for example, just random example. It was the LA Rams versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in the preseason. Do you really honestly think you want to take the LA Rams in that situation? They're not going to start Matt Stafford and the Super Bowl winning squad in the second week of a preseason game. No, what they're going to do, I hate dropping this marker. What they're going to do is they're going to sit out there. They're going to put some guys in that they want to fill into some depth roles and see what they can do. They're not going to be doing anything too special. They're not going to be doing anything too crazy. But that Jacksonville Jaguar team has got a lot of people trying to make a lot of spots for a lot of different holes in a lot of different depth charts on that team. Special teams, defense, offense. Those are the games that you really have to keep an eye on. If it's a team that's already got all their starters and they already know who they are and they already know what they're going to be going forward, they're not going to be playing that many players. So when it comes to the betting lines, sure, you can go money lines on, say, in this case, the Jacksonville Jaguars, or you can start doing the covers. If you like a good team and you even think that their second team is better than some of these other players' second, or some of these other teams' second teams, take a chance on it. If you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, you think Kyle Trask can go out there and beat the Tennessee Titans' second team of Malik Willis? Is that a good bet? Depends. We've seen what Kyle Trask can do in one preseason game. We've seen what Malik Willis can do in one preseason game. But at the same time, both teams are really, really good. Are they not? So in this case, find the team that is on the spread. Someone's going to say plus 2.5, plus 3.5. That's the line I would want to start covering. Because all it was last week, as I saw, is Miami was the favorite. And I really wanted to take Tampa Bay, but I did not want to be a homer. So we decided at NSD to not touch that game. And man, am I glad that we didn't, because holy shit, I would have bet a lot of money on it. And I would have been really mad if when Borregales missed that kick, and I'd have been like, well, we got kicking issues again. That's nice. So let's not do that again. DDA. No, never bet preseason. Well, the thing is, you can make a little bit of money if you just listen, Fred. If you think a team's going to win, all you got to do is make sure you bet the opposite of that. Like if it's LA Rams versus Jacksonville Jaguars, man, I wouldn't be betting it. Damn, I I love that transition. Jamaica. Yeah, what do you, I mean? You know me, buddy. I'm in here in Canada, and I am a guy who loves the cannabis. So, of course, going to have a little bit of something on my show that's got a little bit of love for the cannabis. So, Fred Swayze, by the way, thank you for tuning in. It says better off betting Bucs to go 20-0. I love it, buddy. Thank you for tuning in. But you're not wrong. When it comes to future bets and stuff like that, a lot of those bets really are the ones that you do want to go and make. But people like to have their returns right off the bat. They don't want to see returns in like February or March or April when you start getting the awards that get given out. Like, for example, when George Pickens inevitably wins Rookie of the Year this upcoming year, I want my money like right away, but it ain't going to happen. So in the preseason, though, don't do player props. Player props kill everybody, in my opinion. That's just where you lose a lot of your money, to be honest with you. If you're going to do anything, though, just bet on a couple. Like if it's Cincinnati versus Dallas or something like that, or say, let me give you a better one. Say if it's like the Washington Commanders versus like the Seattle Seahawks, right? You bet on the Seattle Seahawks because they don't necessarily have the roster to beat them in the regular season, but they're going to put that first team starter and maybe only a couple of second stringers on there because Ron Rivera is only going to put out his second stringers. He's not going to put Carson Wentz out there, for example. So it's not a shot at Sean Spencer saying that your Commanders are going to lose or anything, or all of the Commander fans that are watching today. It's just to say, for example, this is something that could happen going forward if you wanted to actually bet. Don't bet on your team. Do not bet on your team. If it's regular season, you know that your team is good, you're never going to get the proper lines anyway. So never bet on your team. Find another team to bet on. Call that your betting team. Like, for example, I love the Detroit Lions because of last year. The greatest spread covering team you could ever ask for. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another Friday edition of NSD. I want to thank you all for tuning in here. Get a couple of things off of the docket here first. I'm going to go open a couple of these. Go find out what the hell is in these. Hopefully there's like something cool. I'll let everybody know what happened in there. I want all of you out there, if you want to start winning jerseys and you want to start winning a chance to take home the Mike Allstott mini helmet signed and authenticated, I just need you to do me a couple of favors. So obviously like, share, and follow North Sports Dynasty. Subscribe on YouTube. But the big thing is if you actually want to start getting your name on that board right there, which I ain't going to be putting on. I got a lot of other information like my SIN number and stuff like that. Here, let me just shut. No, I'm just kidding. If you want to start getting your name in for the draw that is going to be happening at the end of the show or at the end of the year, Just got to like, just got to share, and just got to follow No Sports Dynasty. Anybody who's following already gets one entry in. Anybody who subscribes on YouTube is getting like 5 entries. I'm going to have a big like piece of paper or big picture that I'm working on right now where it's going to show how to get into the draw properly. And then we'll start having the names marked down basically on the whiteboard, and then we'll have them up on Facebook for everybody to see how many they got. We can start giving stuff away. So, ladies and gentlemen, like, share, follow North Sports Dynasty, of course. Get ready in a week and 2 days for, let me find the picture. No, that's the background. Whoopsie. Where's it? There it is. The Maple Bucs show here at North Sports Dynasty, where we're talking only your Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what the heck has been going on with them. Shout out to Let's Talk Football and all the peeps down there at LTF. And Anyway, shout out to everybody there. Much love to everybody who follows this show. Much love to everybody who has tuned in today. Shout out to Ben Cornett for being our daily user winner of the daily entry. He got the correct answer today of what are those 2 numbers? Whose numbers are those for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? He got it right by saying it is Derek Brooks. I almost said Brooks Orpik for some odd reason. Derek Brooks and Dexter Jackson right there, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Java Hubbard, because he's sure part. Shout out to him and shout out to you. We will see you next week where we are going to be talking here at NSD, basically all the stuff that's going on around the NFL and your fantasy football updates before we start getting into draft season. And then 2 days after that, we are going to be hitting you up with Tampa Bay Buccaneers' first show of the Maple Buck show here at NSD. All righty, everybody. I'm out. I'm going to go get so baked, and I'm going to go relax and probably erase this eventually and stay out of this heat if you're a redhead, because the sun wants to kill us. But don't say that too loud because you'll hear us. Anyway, much love. Love you all. Bye.